Hi and welcome to my next solo AAR. This is going to be a game of I Ain't Been Shot Monk because I've not played it for a while, and it's a good game. Another Too Fat Lardies game. It's the next level up really from Chain of Command, so this is more using multiple platoons instead of just the one. A little less granular than Chain of Command, but still plays great game. This is a game that's set in the Kursk salient, 1943, June of 1943, July of 1943, sorry. And the reason I'm playing it in Kursk is because I literally wanted to put some big German cats on the table. I'm playing it solo, so it's going to be slightly different to a normal game of I Ain't Been Shot Monk. I'm taking the role of the Germans who are attacking. They're going to be pushing into the Soviet lines up this end of the table, so I already know what my forces are, so I've not deployed them on blinds. They're already on the table, but I'll show you these in a second and we can talk about that. The other thing I'm doing as well is slightly different. My friend Dean had rewritten the fire table, because the one thing I don't like about Chain of Command, about I Ain't Been Shot Monk, is the firing table. Let me just show you this. It's quite an old school way of doing things, and it kind of slows the game down a little bit where you've got to look things up when you're rolling your dice. None of us really liked it, myself and my friends, so Dean rewrote it and basically turned it into a bucket of dice game, where instead of rolling one dice per action, you roll 6 dice per action of firing, and you have a number to hit, and then also you may cause shocks and pins and suppressions as you do that. I'll talk more about that during the game anyway, and also what I will do is I'll put the PDF in my Google Drive, and I'll put it as a link in the description below, so you can download it and use it yourself. I'll try and describe it as we go along, so you should be able to work out how to use it, but it's very simple. It's a good way of playing the game, as I say, just basically speeding it all up really. So that's it. That's a bit of an introduction. I wanted a bit of an open table, a little bit more different to the last game of I Ain't Been Shot Monk, which was set in Stalingrad and had hundreds of figures. I think about 350 figures. This has got far fewer. But I'll show you the table, I'll show you the forces, and we'll crack on with it. So looking down from the Soviet position, they're here. They're actually deployed on blinds at the moment, and the reason is there's 6 of them is because there's 2 dummies in there at least. What I've done is put the HQ and a dummy, or I don't know which is which, I don't know why I'm pointing at them, at the back, because obviously a HQ is generally going to be at the back, but I don't know which is the dummy, which is the HQ. And then the front line is the infantry and the tanks as well. Again, with another dummy in there as well, so we'll have to come across that and see what happens when the Germans come up against it. And speaking of the Germans, as I said, because I'm playing this as a solo game, I've got these already deployed on the table. So what we've got here is a platoon of Panthers. We have 1 platoon of infantry plus their headquarters platoon, so that's got a couple of MG34s in it, and then we've also got 4 Tigers. I said I wanted big cats on this game. And then we've got their second and final infantry platoon at the back as well. So this is quite a small basic force, but they are advancing in column. So this is the advancing column scenario. So the Germans have set up here in this tiny corridor at the bottom, and then they're going to have to disperse out to try to take out the Soviets on the flank there. They are trying to punch their way through the Soviet line. There's no time limit on this. It's just going to happen when it happens, or not, as the case may be. So we'll see what happens with that. I'll show you the Soviets and then we'll crack on. So these are our Soviet defenders. We have 2 platoons of infantry, each with a big man attached. They've also got an anti-tank gun attached to that, 76mm anti-tank gun attached to each one of them, just to give them a little bit of a punch against those 9 German tanks. We've got their company headquarters over here as well, with a couple of big men, and also they've got 2 MMGs here as well, so they're going to be pretty tough to shift. And then they've got a platoon of 3 T-34 76 guns, the M43 versions. And one other thing is we've also got a bit of support. We've got 3 mortars three 82mm mortars, but they're off table, so they'll be firing on, and they will be directed by the big man if he can actually get them onto the table to fire. So a smallish force, but enough, I would think, to take on what the Germans are throwing at them. So let's just see what happens with the game itself. Okay, so what we're doing, rather than just pulling the cards and showing each card as I pull them, I've just been pulling them until the tea break card was pulled, or until something happened on the board, because otherwise it'd be a very boring game. So, or a boring video, should I say. So what I've done is, I've actually advanced Platoon 1. They were able to move forward, and then the second card I drew was the Panthers, Axis Armour 1, so they were able to get forward. And I've moved all these up. These are fast tanks, so they've moved quite far across this board. They're now in a position to be able to spot this front line of Soviets. So they're all going to attempt to spot whichever unit is in front of them. These are all partially obscured, and then we've also got this one over here who's going to attempt to spot the one in the back corner there, and that needs a that's going to be very obscured. But because they are in button down tanks, they get a -1, so that's not actually going to be able to spot the one on the back anyway, because it's through trees. It needs to be a bit closer to be able to spot it, so we're not going to be able to do that one anyway. So what we'll do is, these are going to be trying to spot basically the ones that are directly in front of them. So we'll start with this one here. He needs a 9 initially, but because he's in a button down tank, he actually needs a 10. So we're looking for 10, 11, 12s. So the first one, no, he's failed. This one here is trying to try to spot this. Blind. 7 has failed. These are all going to be the same, so we need 10s on all of them. So this one over here, he's rolled a 9, close, but no donut. And then finally this one over here. I'm saying that these are partially obscured literally because they're in the cornfields behind hedges and things. So 8. So no, they haven't spotted anything at this point. So that's not great, but at the tea break they may spot some of these if they're within range. Anyway, I'll get back to pulling cards and crack on with this move. Right, the Germans have just pulled their tea break card. So far they've had their Axis Big Man 2, who was their platoon leader. He basically moved the platoon forward. Their Axis Armour 1, and then they got a fuel or breakdown, because these Panthers are brand new, pretty much straight off the factory floor. So I rolled for them, and one of them broke down. So it was the one there with the red spots on, just to remember. So that basically can't move for the rest of the game. They get any shock when they get any shock. So it's going to be pretty bad for them for the rest of the game. Right, so we shifted forward these Panthers. They are now spotting again. They've actually retained 2 of their actions to spot. So this guy has actually moved within 9 inches of this anyway. Sorry, 5 inches of this one. So we'll reveal this straight away. This is it's a dummy. So at least we've got rid of 1. So we know the rest are going to be something. So let's see what we've got. He also has 2 actions that he can use to spot here. He's just within 9 inches of this one, so it's a 5 to spot it on 2d6. Or actually, he's probably better off trying to spot this one over here. So let's see, we've got a 12 over there, 12 inches away. So that's a 9 to spot, but he is in a buttoned up tank, so that becomes a 10. So he's got 2 chances at this. So the first one is a 10, no. Sorry, he's actually using his extra action to give it a +1. So that then becomes a 9, but so he's not actually done it because it's still a -1 because he's buttoned up. Yeah, he's like using actions to plus on rather than rolling the dice. So same here, they're getting +1 on each of their rolls, but they're getting a -1 because they're buttoned up. So the first guy, he's close enough to roll a 5 or above to spot. So yes, that has been spotted. So it is. This is second platoon. So I'll get those on in the second. I'll just put that there so I know where to set them up. And then we have the other Panther, and this is also spotting on a 9 or above as well, because he's got that +1 but -1 because he's buttoned up. So that's an 8, so that one hasn't been spotted yet. Neither is the other one over there. So we've got the Soviet Platoon 2. I'll get them on the table. Their card will go into the deck. They will be able to fire at the end of the tea break, which is quite nice because they do have an anti-tank gun in there, so that could be quite a threat for those Panthers straight up. The Germans had a pretty good turn in that one. They managed to get the Tigers a bit further forward, push forward a little bit with these Panthers, revealed at least 2 of the blinds. One turned out to be this platoon over here, but it does have the SIS-3 anti-tank gun attached, so that is going to fire at this Panther. It's just in range. It needs a 5, but the Panther moved, so that becomes a 6 to hit in the first instance on 2d6. So we'll get that rolled, and then we'll see if it actually hits and does anything. So we're looking at 6 and above. So that's a 9, so that is a hit. So now we roll the strike dice for the SIS-3, which is 7, I believe. Yep, it's 7. So we get these together. So there's 5, 6, 7. Now it needs 5s and 6s because it's firing at the front of the Panther. So that's 2 hits. The Panther has an armour of 11. So let's just put those hits to there one side, 1 second. And then we'll roll for the Panther's armour. The Panther will save on a 5 or a 6. So it's saved 2, 4 hits in total. So that means that it basically blanks out the SIS-3's gun, so there is no effect on the Panther whatsoever. Okay, on the start of the new turn, the Allies have pulled their anti-tank gun, so that's going to take a shot again at this Panther. So we're looking for a 5 or above to hit. That's a hit, that's a 7. So it rolls its strike dice, needs 5s and 6s. So what we got here, we got 1, 2, 4 hits on the Panther, which is looking promising, of course. So then the Panther is rolling its 11 armour dice, and it needs 5s and 6s on this. So let's see what we get. That is 4. So it's 4 against 4, so there's no net hits, but that means it still has to roll anyway. So we have a 1. The AFV takes 1 point of shock and it may not advance towards the enemy on its next activation. So the Panther's big man has been pulled, his card, so he's actually he's in this tank here, so he's actually going to fire back at the Soviet anti-tank gun. Because it's firing direct fire, I'm going to do this slightly differently to the bucket of dice that I mentioned at the introduction, because this is slightly different because you may roll a 1 on the 2 dice that you're going to roll, and if you do, then you missed. They only need to roll 1, 1. It's a bit difficult to translate that into a bucket of dice. So they're just going to do it like you normally would, because this is relatively infrequent HE firing. We're going to use the normal table for hits for this. So we find out if it's hit first of all. As I say, any ones it hasn't, so it has. So that's 9. Now we're up to 18 inches, but I'm going to say this is an okay shot because it's firing down at a weird angle and it's slightly behind that building there. So on a 9, that is 4 kills, 4 hits should I say, and then a pin. I mean the thing is automatically pinned anyway because it's under fire from HE, so we'll put that down, and then it also takes 4 hits. There's 5 crew in there, there's 3 figures on it, but there are 5 crew. So now we roll again for the hits. 5, 6 is the kills, 1, 2 is nothing, 3, 4 is shock, 5, 6 is the kill. So let's just see what we get from that. So we've got 2 shock and 2 kills. So I'll just put 2 tabs on there to remind me that 2 of the crew are dead. So we don't need to because we've only got 3 left there anyway. And then they also take 2 shock as well on top of that. Okay, the Panther here, it's the Panther's turn. One of them over here has moved forward to try to spot up there, but he can't this turn because he's spent all his actions moving. This one has spotted this platoon over here, so that's Platoon 2, so they're now on the board. So they're again similar to the previous platoon. They've got 3 units of 8 men with a junior leader, and then also their anti-tank gun as well, which is attached. So with that in mind, this threat suddenly appears. The Panthers here are both going to fire directly at the anti-tank gun, because there's nothing like a 76mm anti-tank gun to put the fear of God up here. So the first one, because it's spotted, it gets -2 on each of its dice rolls. So we'll try this first of all. Any ones are a miss, so roll them first of all. It's missed anyway, so there's no point even calculating anything. And the second one, same again, 2 dice. Any ones are misses. No, so that's actually 7. It automatically pins the gun anyway, so that's on a pin. So we're now a 7. Again, I'm going to say this is an okay shot because it's literally just appeared. So that's 3 hits. So we'll roll for those. Again, 5 6 are the kills. This is just on the crew. So we have, it's got 3 shock on it. Okay, it's tea break. Let's see where we're at. So the Panthers are slightly pushing forward a bit here in the centre. Tigers are getting up to them as well. The infantry are lagging behind a little bit. The first platoon have managed to get halfway across the table. These ones over here are making a break for the flank. They started doing that before these even appeared anyway. They were going to move to a flanking attack. This platoon has appeared with the anti-tank gun. This platoon was already on anyway. That's again with the anti-tank gun. And the 3 T-34s have appeared as well. They were within the distance, automatic spotting distance of the Panthers. So now we've suddenly got an armour threat over there, and we've got the 2 anti-tank guns in this central area here as well. So this is going to be a bit of a mixed bag, and it's going to be a bit of a fight, I think, from here on in. So let's see what happens with the next turn. So the Soviets have pulled their anti-tank card, so they're using this one to fire at this Panther here. So they've got 3 actions. First shot is going to be an aimed shot, so that gives them a +2. However, they are pinned. They are shocked by 2, so that brings it down to 0. There's no bonus on it. But because of their range, they are needing a 6 to hit, because they are somewhat obscured. So 6 or above the first shot. So that's a hit. So we've got 7 strike dice from the AT gun. So that's 3 hits on that Panther. And then the Panther has its 11 armour rolls. So let's see what the difference is here. There's 1 net hit on the tank. It takes 1 point of shock. It loses an action on its next activation. And then we also roll as well to see what happens. So a 2 is it is temporarily immobilised. There's no movement on the next activation, and it has a point of shock on it as well. However, its troubles aren't yet over, because the anti-tank gun is going to line up and take another shot at it. So let's see, same again now, we need a 6 or above this time to hit, but -2 because of the shock. They could aim, but then that would give them 1 less shot. So they're going to take a snapshot at it. First one, they're going to take 2 snapshots. So the first one has missed anyway, so that's 7. They need an 8 or above. The second one has missed as well, so that's a 7. So they've caused a shock and they've immobilised that Panther just for 1 turn. The Axis big man in the Tiger has been activated, so he's going to get his tank to fire 2 aimed shots at that central T-34. He needs 6s on to hit on both of these. It's obscured, it's over 18 inch, but he's a big man firing, and also he's using an aimed shot. So 6 and above. First of all, first one's missed. The second one, that's a 6. We'll re-roll that because it rolled out to there. So that's 11. So that is a hit. So the Tiger is striking on a 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 12. T-34's armour is 6. This may not end up very well for the T-34, but let's just see what happens. So 5s and 6s, because we're firing at the front aspect. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Not as many as they were looking for. And then the T-34 hasn't saved a single one, so that's 4 hits On the tank, 4 hits, AFV explodes, destroyed by a critical hit, all crew are dead. It won't affect anything around it because the only things that are around it are the other tanks as well. They're further than 1 inch away, so they don't take any shock. Okay, we've got the Allied Big Man number 3 attached to Platoon number 1 over here. He's activated, so he's getting this unit and this unit using his 2 command initiatives to fire at this German section here. So now I'm going to show you how this fire table works. Instead of using the normal rolling 3 dice, what we do is both of them are going to use all 3 of their activations to roll. And for each activation you roll in firing, or you use, you roll 6d6. So both of these are going to roll 18d6. So we check the range, we decide what kind of shot it is. So this is actually infantry, 9 to 18 inches. They need to hit on, it's not a great shot, so I'm going to go with this being an okay shot because they are obscured by these cornfields and things. And so for that, they need 6s. So any rolls on here that are 6 will be hits. If they roll 3 or more hits, they will pin. If they roll 4 or more, they will suppress. So that's how you work it out. It's pretty simple, really. It's just about the numbers on here compared to the numbers that you're rolling. So it's just a little bit quicker than doing it through the chart, because you've got to look down the charts and check everything out. Whereas this, it works in increments quite easily. So we're looking at 6s to hit here. So that's 1. Sorry, smacked the tank there. So let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. So then we're going to roll for casualties on those. And then also, those casualties, because we've scored more than 4, that's suppressed this unit, which means they cannot fire, move or fire in the rest of this turn. That will become pinned at the end of the tea break. And then we roll again for casualties. 5, 6 being being a kill, 3, 4 being shock. So that's 2 kills and no shock. That was a 2, I think. Yeah, it was a 2. So 2 kills, but no shock. So that's how you do it. It's a very simple way of doing it. You just have to quickly check on here as to what the hit number is, and then roll over that on the d6 that you're rolling. So this tiger has moved forward, so it's a tiger section to move, platoon to move. So this one's moved forward and it's firing at the anti-tank gun. It has moved, so it gets -2 on its dice. It's rolling 3 dice. If it rolls 2 1s, it's missed anyway, and the rest is just the effect of the fire normally. So we have, so there's no 1s in there, so that's 12 -6, so that's 6. And again, that's an okay shot because they're in a cornfield. So 6 is 3 hits. So we roll for those hits, and that's nothing, no effect. Okay, the other tigers in the platoon, the one over here is firing at this T-34, the one over here is firing at this T-34, the commanders. So we'll start with this one. He's moved through the hedges to get to where he is. It is partially obscured and it's over 18 inches. So we need a 9 to hit, 9 or above, and he's only getting 1 shot off. He has actually hit. So the strike dice for the tiger is 12. So let's roll those. See how many 5s and 6s we get. 1, 2. I was very surprised at that. I didn't think he'd hit there. So this is a turn up for the books. So that's 5 hits, and the defense dice on the T-34, 5s and 6s will save. So he's going to need pretty much all of them to save. And that's 1. So that's 4 net hits. So yet again, another T-34 is just brewed up. So that's the second one that's gone. Bang. Okay, on to the next tiger. Now this one has got 2 aimed shots this time. And this is firing at just over 18 inches. So this is starting on a 9 with an aimed shot becomes a 7. So we'll roll for that first of all. The first aimed shot. That's a hit. So again, its strike dice are 12. Let's just put these together. 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, so 5s and 6s this time. Same again. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits this time. T34 again is saving on a 5 and a 6. So again, it's going to need to get most of these to actually save, or it might be another one that's gone bang. Let's have a look. It has saved 3 of them. So that's good. It needed those. So we are now rolling. It's 1 net hit, so it's taken its point of shock anyway and loses its action on its next activation. And a 5. The turret is hit, -1 on all rolls to hit due to damage to the gun sights. So it's survived but has taken quite a bit of damage. It's a T-break. Because this anti-tank gun hadn't activated, it is going to fire at this Tiger. It's the only one that can, because it's the only one that's in 9 inches of a target. So we're looking at a 6 or above to hit, because it's an aimed shot, but that's a 4, so that's a miss. And now we're on the T-break. Situation at the moment is this. Again, the German tanks are kind of pushing up, slightly up through the centre here. They're forcing their way slowly forward. They've not really caused much damage on the infantry yet, but that will happen. The Germans have taken some fire down here, so they're no longer suppressed, they're pinned. The worst thing that's happened is the T-34s have taken, basically 2 of them have been destroyed by the Tigers, and the other one has taken shock and also has a -1 because it's got damaged guns now. So yeah, the Germans are certainly pushing on, and if all these tanks survive, the infantry are going to have a really poor time of it. Right, the first card is the T-34s. There's only 1 of them left. It's firing at this Panther. It's using an aimed shot. It's got -2 because it's got a damaged gun sight, and also it's got 1 shock. So, but it gets a +2 because it's an aimed shot. It's going to fire 2 aimed shots at the Panthers. So let's just see if it hits. So it needs a 6 or above because the Panther's partially obscured because of the cornfields. So that's 1 hit. Its strike dice are 7. So that's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. The Panther's armour is 11. Let's see if this does anything. So we got 5s and 6s will affect it, so that's 3. 3 effects, and then we've got an 11. Got to roll 11 for the Panther. I think it'll probably survive this, but we'll see. We'll see. If it doesn't, if none of these are survival, then it gets destroyed anyway because it's 3 net hits. But let's just see. No, there's 4 in there, so that does nothing to the tank. Right, but we do have a second shot. This is also another aimed shot because it's using 1 action to aim, and then the second shot, his third action will be to fire. So same again, 6 or above, double 1, that's a miss. So no effect there. So we've got Soviet Platoon 2. What's happened is part of their unit has gone behind this cover here. The other one has dashed into that building over there. Meanwhile, this section is going to fire at the Germans here as well in the open. So they're firing. They need 6s on their 18 dice. So let's see. So that's 1, 2 hits. So that doesn't cause any pins or suppressions, but we'll see what the effects of those hits are. Same again. So it's a 5 or 6 as a kill. 2, 3, so that's 2 shock on that section. Right, we've got the Allied anti-tank gun, so this is going to fire at this Tiger. -3 because of his shock, +2 because it is aiming, so that's a -1 in total. It needs a 5 or above, so that's going to go to a 6 or above. It's going to fire 2 aimed shots with all 3 of its actions. So the first one is a hit, so we're rolling 7 dice, 7 strike dice for the Zis 3, so 5s and 6s, so that's 2 net hits, and the Tiger has got 11, so that's 5, 10, 11. There you need to roll 5s and 6s. So yes, that's more than enough, so there's no trouble from that first shot. Second shot, same again, aiming again, so that's another +2. So -1, so it becomes a 6 again to hit. So it has just hit. So we roll again for the strike dice. Actually, it should have probably got an extra bonus for firing at the same target, but it hit anyway. So 5s and 6s, that's 4 hits this time. That's potential to do some damage. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 dice there. Put those together, and 5s and 6s for the saves. But maybe not. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, it just bounces off. God, they're unstoppable, these tigers. So we're back to the Panthers. So this one here is going to be firing at the anti-tank gun here. This one here is targeting this section here behind the wall. This one is firing the anti-tank gun. This one is also firing the anti-tank gun, because I kept forgetting about him. And then this one is firing at the final T-34. So we'll start with the T-34 first of all, and then work our way through the others. So it's up to 18 inches. It's in the it's obscured. So we're starting with a 6. They're not under fire. The target's not moving. There's no shock on the firer. There's no damage or anything. And I don't think there's anything else. His name's shot for the first one, so that becomes a 4. So that's it. So it's a 4 or above. He's going to fire 2 shots, 2 aimed shots. So the first one is 4 or above, so that's a hit. So the Panthers' strike is 12. 5s and 6s because he's firing at the fronts. So let's see, that's quite a number. 1, 2, 3, 4. T-34 has an armour of 6. So we've just got 6 here. And we roll those again, see what we get. Just got to save as many of these as possible, if not all of them. So 2. 2 is 3 net hits. 3 net hits on a tank is a AFV destroyed. Dice 1 hit on each crewman with a 5 or 6, resulting in a kill. So there's what, 4 crew in there. So let's just see how many are killed or not. 5s and 6s are killed. None of them are killed, so all the crew survive at least. But that tank is gone. Right, we've got our next Panther over here. These are firing direct fire high explosives, so we go back to our previous firing charts. Same again, these are, if they roll a 1 they're missing, otherwise it's whatever. If they get a double 6 they also destroy the gun as well. There's only 3 crew left on that gun. So let's see for the first one. It's an 8 at up to 18 inches, and it's an okay shot because it's partially obscured. That's 4 hits. So 5s and 6s are kills. So that's 2 of the crew killed, so that now only has 1 crewman left on it. So the second Panther is firing its shot as well. So 6, so it has hit, so 6 is 3 net hits on there, so let's just see what happens. 5, 6s are kills, there's only 1 man. So that's killed him, so that's destroyed the crew. I mean, the gun is still there, but there's nobody who can use it. So that's gone out, that's that gun out. And then we've also got this Panther over here firing at this one here. So this is a, again, roll the dice, see what we get. 1, there's a 1 there, so that's a miss anyway. So we've got a German 2nd platoon moving its way down this railroad track. This front section is firing at the section here in the anti-tank gun. This section over here is firing at the section there in the pig pen. So both of these are going to be okay shots. They're up to over 9 inches. So the first one, they're only rolling 6d6 because they've done 2 actions of movement, so they're only able to roll 6d6. They need 6s to hit on them. So the first one, let's have a look. So that's 1 hit. Let's just do the other ones just so we know how many we've got. And 2 separate targets, so that's all misses. So 1 hit. That doesn't cause any shock or pins. Sorry, it doesn't cause any suppression or pins, but it may cause a casualty. It does cause a casualty, so they take 1 hit on the Soviet section. Okay, next up we've got the German Tiger Commander, so he's going to get his tank just to fire at this. That's all he's doing, so it is 3d6. If he rolls 2 1s, he's missed. But that is... that's not double 6, but he has scored 9, 15 on a up to 18 inch and okay, so that's 6 hits and it is pinned. So we'll put a pin on it straight away, and then 6 hits. And I think he's still got full crew on that. let's see anyway, 5 or a 6. That's 4 more shock on it, so that takes it up to 7 on that. So I think, yeah, that's definitely pinned. If not, it's not broken yet, but it is pinned. The German infantry are starting to advance, but it's the Soviets fire team. So this one is going to fire over here at this section, and whereas the one in the wooden hut is firing up here, these guys on there. They're both firing at over 9 inches. It's an okay shot, so they need 6s to hit, and they're only rolling 6 dice because they're only using. So no, they're both using all of their 18 dice to roll. Sorry, they haven't moved at all. So they're rolling 18 dice and 6s to hit. So the first one over here. So we've got 1 hit. Great, well done, well done. We'll just roll to see what happens with that. 5-6 kill. 3-4 is shock. Nothing. Brilliant. Really good result there. So we've got the other fire coming down here are the Germans as they're advancing down that road. So again, this is 6s to hit, so we've got 1, 2, 3 hits. God, they couldn't hit a barn door with 20 paces with all that firing and nothing. You would have thought there would at least been about 4 or 5 hits out of that. So 3 hits, and same again, 5-6 are kills. Well, it is 2 kills and 1 shock, so it's not done too bad. Okay, on the tea break, the only thing that can happen is this tiger here can fire at the 76mm gun, so it's going to do that. 2 1s are a miss. It's doing nothing else, so that's 9, 10, 11 hits on up to 18 inches and an okay shot. So that's 5 hits and it's pinned. It's already pinned anyway, so let's just see what happens with the hits. What we got? We got 2 kills and 2 shock, so it's now on 9 shock with 3 men in there. So that has actually broken, so they have abandoned that field piece. Okay, with the loss of bottle on that anti-tank gun, that basically leaves the Soviets, the small units that they've got left here, with no anti-tank capabilities whatsoever. So I'm thinking that at this point they will probably start to retreat. They haven't lost a lot of their infantry, it's still pretty much intact, and we still haven't seen where the headquarters were based, but with the loss of 3 tanks over here, all 3 gone, their commander killed, and as I say, the anti-tank gun that was here and the anti-tank gun here that has just lost its bottle. I'm going to say that with the fact that we've still got 9 working tanks, well, one is immobilised for the rest of the game, but the rest of them are still working and able to bring, and hardly any casualties on the German infantry. I think they've lost 4 men in total. So I think I'm going to call it. I think this is a definite German victory in this case. Great game though, really good fun, really exciting. It was nice to have a bit of an open table, though I'm used to when it comes to I Ain't Been Shot Mum, and also nicer to have a bit of a smaller game of I Ain't Been Shot Mum as well than the last one that I played. But let's just have a quick look and see where the headquarters platoon actually works. I still don't know. So we've got here, that one's a dummy. So they were actually in a pretty good position. They must have been them there. HQ, there you are, just to prove. So they were actually in the right position. I did put them in randomly, but yeah, they've turned up in the right position. So that's it. That's the board at the end of this game. The Germans have actually smashed through a Kursk, and well, as we know, it doesn't go all their way for the rest of July. Look, if you enjoyed watching this, please give me a like, give me a subscribe. Leave a comment, say what you enjoyed, say what you didn't enjoy. I've probably made tons of rules mistakes, as I always do, but at the end of the day, I've had fun, and if you've had fun watching it, then that's the main thing. Please check out the other videos, the other I Ain't Been Shot Mum videos on this channel, and there will be more because I've forgotten how good a game it is. So, thanks again for watching, and see you next time.